9, 8.
You're watching The
7,
Experience, Comic Culture, and
6,
Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily to
4,
Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for coming to Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. We've got an exciting night planned tonight. We have Carl Choi from 24/7 Comics. He's going to be showing us Zero Ghost, so we're going to be taking a look at that. And, of course, we've got giveaways, so you want to make sure you get in on that. Put in # EXP Zero Ghost, like some of you have put in there already. And, of course, we've got an auction block going. We have Erwin Papa and Mr. Fish is back with us tonight. And, of course, Mog will be drawing too. So don't go away. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, all right, everybody. If you get a chance while you're waiting, watching the show, fill out that survey that our wonderful producer put out into the comics. That would help us out a lot. And of course, hit that thumbs up button, like, comment, share this, so that way we can continue to bring wonderful content to you, like Nick Barucci's original art show that appears every Fridays at 7 p.m. Okay, and if you haven't done so already, get in that # EXP Zero Ghost. We have got a ton of giveaways going out tonight. Some really good ones that you will not want to miss out on. All right. So, Mog, what's going on? What's happening with you in your neck of the woods?
Nothing much, just crunching deadlines as usual. Lots of cover arts to do and commissions at the same token.
Okay, so exactly what are you working on?
Today, I'll be working on...
Or that's on your list of things to do, right? Because I'm thinking that it's a bunch of things you're working on simultaneously.
Yeah, I'm working on Ninja Witch #4 that will be coming out.
Okay.
So that one, I'm starting the painting process.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing some daily warm-up sketches before I actually start working, which is actually really good. I do recommend if anybody wants to do anything. It's kind of almost like calisthenics, just your like morning jog, and then you start doing it. But instead of morning jogging, you're just literally just kind of drawing a bit, and then start the day. It really helps. Like, I don't know why, it reframes the mind, like getting into the work mode very well. I noticed that for me, it works.
What else are you working on?
I don't know. It seems like you know. So why don't you answer for me?
Well, I don't want to keep reminding you. Okay, aren't you? You're working on sequential pages.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who's
There's
that
so
for?
much. Oh, Roxy #2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's what commissions are you working on?
I was doing this really kick-ass idea of like medieval fantasy version of Wonder Woman. And after I was almost three-quarters way into the painting, it just wasn't panning out. So I realized it's better to just scratch it and start from start. And as long as insurmountably long it sounds like just restarting a project sometimes, it's actually much faster because you made all your mistakes on the first try. So I'm looking forward to redoing that as well for private commissions. I don't know. I've been doing all kinds of private commissions, so it's like a blur in my mind. Do you want to specify for the viewers?
No, but if Moggy is open, her pre-show commission list is open for New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Fest, Amazing Hawaii Con. What's after that? Fan Expo, San Francisco, and Maui Con. Right, so we have 5 cons left that we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. Right. So, and what are you going to be drawing tonight?
I think I said
remember?
It's Jinx.
Right.
From League of Legends.
Right. So League of Legends just rolled out their new trailer, if you guys haven't seen that. Looks kind of interesting. I'm not gonna
Really
spoil
good
it.
show. Arcane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Arcane. It's a little more focused, and so in honor of that, Mog will be working on a steampunk Jinx for you guys. Starting bid on that is $100. Right, so if you want to put in a blind bid now, you can do that in the comments. Right, want to say to Kenneth Bird in the house there, Steve Vendetta, good to see you guys there.
Yeah.
Carl's in there, and he's a guest. JG. JG Art World is here. All right. Good to see all you guys coming in here. Thanks again. Okay, so let's bring out our main featured guests.
But JD, if you sleep on the beach,
Yo.
Hey,
hi.
Carl. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, guys? What's up, Mel? What's up, Mog?
What's up, Carl? What's up, man? I love your energy.
I wish I could like sketch on the side while we're chatting. I just don't have that kind of skill set.
You can.
My wife is very honest. She always tells me you have no talent, but you're really good at picking them. So thanks.
That is a
wife.
subject that we've talked about many times here on the show. Is it a natural talent, or is it a talent that you can grow? Okay, so that'll
Something you
be
can grow.
interesting that we can touch on. But I see that you have a nice collection of artwork behind you
I
too,
know.
and we'll take a little look at that in a bit. But in the meantime, let's bring out our other two guests here, starting with Mr. Erwin Papa, who is
What's
back
up?
with us.
Yo,
Hey,
yo.
Erwin.
What's up,
How's it going,
Erwin?
buddy?
Erwin.
What are you
I'm
working
doing
on?
a Wonder Woman piece. I'll pull it out a little bit. Do you see that? Let me get the face right there real quick. That starting bid for that is 60.
Okay.
And then I also
Nice.
have this 5.5 by 8.5
Dope.
ink drawing original on sale for 60. It's
Oh my
called
God.
Cesspool. Right.
That's now you call that cesspool. Is that based of is that for a page off a comic?
No, this was in the like the 2010s when I was like trying to figure out to gain patience on drawing comics. So I would just make up panels and then draw inside it. Okay.
All right. Some of that panels in there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you look at it closely too, it's like there's no real story. It's mostly everything in the panel is just a portrait. So I was still cheating at it a bit, but I just wanted the patience to pretend of doing a comic. And then actually doing a comic here with my friend, writer Warwick Walker, I am giving away Vial number 1, the first issue of a series. It is about a selfish drug addict who accidentally injects himself with a secret science experiment and gains unusual powers, which lead him down the road towards salvation. It's cyberpunk. It's body horror.
Okay.
All in the first
Okay.
issue.
So that's one of the items that are be giving away. So if you want to get on that, there's actually a total of 5 giveaways we have tonight. So put in #EXP0Ghost. That'll get you in the running for that. All right, let's bring on our next artist guest here tonight, and that is Mr. Fish Comics.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, Fish.
Howdy.
How's it in your neck of the woods? Is it hot out there?
It's actually been pretty nice for a change. Like, it's usually kill you as soon as you go outside hot, but it has been really nice and relatively cool. I talked with the UPS guy for a while today, and he was only like mildly sweaty and greasy. It's really nice for South Arkansas.
Nice.
It's good.
Cool. Yeah, well, here in California, they keep saying it's going to go over 100 degrees. I keep walking outside, and I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling the heat, but not. It's not over 100. So I'm thankful for that.
I think you're lying.
Lucky.
It's 109 degrees today, and the heat index was 120.
So hot.
So
so hot.
you kept saying that like it was so hot that you asked me to turn the AC on, so I started it early.
No, that's because I went outside. I was doing errands. And
We don't turn the AC off all winter. I don't know how y'all do it. It's a
Usually,
different place. I couldn't live out there in a place that had like, an earthquake and a wildfire season. Like we've got 4 normal seasons. We got autumn, we got wet autumn, we got allergy season, and we got heat stroke season, just like everybody else. I oh,
I've
it's
seen
crazy.
I've seen the heat strokes out there, and I've seen people that fall flat on their face.
I've had several.
So
Rough.
yeah, see, so I don't know, but are you in the tornado alley?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, son, the town I live in got hit twice in 2 years by a tornado. Just like I lost my drum set when the
what?
church got destroyed. It was
Yeah. See,
it was brutal.
yeah. I don't know what if I like that better than the earthquakes here. They sound about the same. Your cell though seems to be more frequent.
Well, I mean, there's 2 years in what the almost 30 I've lived here. So,
Okay. All right. That's all right. Okay. I'll give you that. Okay.
Have you
I'll be
seen
setting on
Twister yet,
fire
Chris?
every year.
Have you guys seen the movie Twister? It's so good. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Not the new one.
You know what?
Oh,
I actually
so good.
liked that movie.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
thought it was gonna be like almost like a repeat of Twister, and in a way it kind of was, but there was enough differences in there to make it interesting. So yeah, so I actually found myself enjoying that movie more than I thought I would.
Yeah, amazing director. I mean, Lee Isaac Chung, he's come
Yeah.
up in the game for a long time, and he actually poured his heart into it. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I had too much caffeine that day when I watched it. I literally thought I was having a heart attack during the movie. I was like,
Oh wow!
it's
Kind of like
crazy.
some of those guys who drink like 5 monsters.
Wow.
Right, Carl, how did you get into comics? What
Yeah.
what was that moment that you said, wow, I think I like comics?
As a hobby or as a profession?
Either, what was the first
Yeah,
moment?
start from hobby.
Whatever came first.
Okay, yeah, hobby first. So I always say comic books saved my life because I was born in Hong Kong. Even though my last name is Choi, I am actually a Chinese Choi. I came here when I was 8 years old, and I didn't have any friends. I didn't speak the language. I didn't speak, I didn't speak the language. I didn't know the culture. I just didn't have much community. And so I remember like going through probably like 2nd through 5th grade, like eating lunch by myself. I was that kid, and like didn't really have friends. Kind of trying to jump in the groups, but didn't really connect. And then around 5th or 6th grade, my cousin, when we were during a get together, decided to bring some comics, and I still remember it was like a bunch of Uncanny X-Men, Wolverines, and the one that really stood out was Wolverine Limited Series #1 with Frank Miller, and that just really popped to me. And when I opened the pages, it was super cool because like before I moved to America, I didn't know I was Asian until I got here because everyone just looked like me, right? So in the comics, it was obviously like not a lot of representation, but in Wolverine, that mini series, he goes to Japan. And so I was like, yo, this is so cool, man. Like he's in Japan. He's like, in this world that I could understand. And then I went back for more and more. And basically every week I would go back to the comic book shop, and that was where I found my community. Eventually working at a local comic book shop from like 14 to 16. Then I discovered Cars and Girls and disappeared from all that for about, 15 years. And I came back during like a weird quarter life crisis. I literally went to Alaska. I went to Vancouver and rented a car and drove through Alaska and lived in my car for a month. And it wasn't until I got up to Fairbanks where I walked into a comic book shop and just kind of fell back in love with it again. It's almost like this safe space. And then it's always then been a hobby. And then professionally, I work in media, and a few years back, ended up working to adapt film and TV projects. And then we were looking for comic book projects, and we realized in talking to creators that the structure of how comic book companies work do not benefit creators as much as we would hope. And so I got with Justin Jordan, and I said, okay, then like what would look right, because he was like, well, like there's only like 2 ways to go. There's the big 2, obviously, which they tell you what to write, what to draw. you're on a crazy deadline and you have to like pump stuff out, right? But then on the other side, yeah, you could go Image Comics, you do and create your own, but how many people have 6 to 12 months to burn to put out those 3 issues before someone approves it? So we basically co-created this model called partnership publishing, where as a publisher, we take all the risk, we pay you up front, and then you have a lifetime participation in IP like a partner. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we started. And then 3-4 years later now, we have about 15 creators on board. We are in negotiation with a couple others. And then we have 10 original IPs, and we're now releasing our second one, which is Zero Ghost. So thanks for using Zero Ghost as our hashtag, because this is the last 48 hours or like 36 hours of our campaign, and could use all the help we could get as always. And, loving building the community together.
And we're gonna take a look at that. But your Kickstarter doing pretty good. You're close to breaking 30K. You've got, I believe, less than 24 hours is left now. And the number that impresses me the most is the number of backers, and you're over 300, right? And there's just because you'll see people that will get over like 20,000, right? But then there's only like 75 or 100 backers, so you know that there's just like tiers in there that are really high that get bought out early, and those are usually bought out by friends and stuff. So to see that your number is over 300 and you're almost hitting 30K, you might have broken it now, because I think last time I looked at it, you're about 500 away from it. So good on that one. But so let's go back a little bit here, right? So Frank Miller, Wolverine, right? That's an impressive issue to get started on a hook. I remember when that came out. Well, we were all. I've been collecting since the 70s, and so Wolverine was when he came back in that giant-sized X-Men. He was like the hot character out of there. So ever since that point, we were waiting for some kind of major story to happen with Wolverine, and then we got Frank Miller's Wolverine, which was hot right off the racks as soon as it hit the racks. That was like one hot issue. But was there something? Were you attracted more to the story, or was it the artwork? I know you mentioned like how where the story was going in Japan and all that, but were you impressed with the artwork at that time, or?
I was a little bit of both. I think we're in a visual medium, so like the visuals obviously inform the story. But I felt like when I walked away, I'm also very heavily dyslexic, so I think I have to see the visuals over and over again to remember it. But the story just really hit me. I think for me, my memory is typically in the heart. If it hits me in the heart, then I remember how it made me feel. And I felt like that was just a really powerful story that I was able to relate to. But yeah, no, actually, growing up, I think also like I also have a weird thing where if I don't meet you in person, it's hard for me to remember a name. And so like that's the same thing where like I would read the books, but I was learning English while reading the books. So the names was the last thing I went to go read, because like who cares? I'm gonna forget anyways, right? So for me, it's also making out the stories, and I think the visual aspect really helped with that. And I think it was really early on that true feelings were kind of extracted out of me as a kid.
So at that time, the name Frank Miller didn't really mean anything to you at that time until later. Okay, interesting. Were you not into like manga and anime at that time, or?
Not really. My brother was. My brother, who's a little older, he read a ton of manga. I was really into manhwa, like the ones he read, like Tiger Dragon Fist, and like a lot of those Oriental heroes that came over. But it was less about reading; it was more about the picture.
The visual,
it was because they were so dynamic, and like the fight scenes were like awesome. It kind of reminds me of like modern day Daniel Warren Johnson. Like everything's so dynamic and just crazy and extreme that it kind of drew you in. And so I like to think I was practicing martial arts at one point in my life, and so that definitely was an inspiration for sure.
Did you get into martial arts?
I tried. It was when we were probably from like 6 years old to 8 years old. I did kind of children stuff, and then when I landed here, I remember like kids would the first day of school, the kids asked me to show them if I knew martial arts and do you know kung fu? Someone asked me that, and I started displaying it, and I didn't realize they were actually just making fun of me. And so
That is so racist. That would be so
Yeah, I was
racist
like,
now.
yeah, so they laughed and ran off, and I was like, oh, I guess I was performing to myself, but I was pretty into it. So it was kind of a weird experience. So I never really went back. As an adult, I'll go do boxing and stuff. And recently, I've been talking about joining jujitsu, but I haven't really gotten into the whole martial arts stuff much.
Okay. Right. So when you started 24/7, was it you made it sound like that this was an idea that just popped up and decided to do it, or was it something that you were thinking about for a while?
It was progressive. So in 2020, oh, actually, I'm hearing echo. Do you guys hear echo?
Yeah.
No, all of a sudden, echo.
Yeah, I'm hearing an echo too.
Testing.
Okay, I don't hear an echo.
There we go. We're back now.
Okay.
Maybe not. Testing.
Oh, we're good.
I think better. All right, cool. Anyways, what's the question? Comics. So how I got into it professionally. So
Well, for the 24/7, right? Was that an idea that just popped up immediately, or was that something that you had kind of been thinking about?
it's almost like a 2.0 in a weird way. So leading up to the pandemic, I ran an experiential agency. So we produced immersive experiences. So we represented all the movie studios. We had just locked down like a Nike contract. We worked with toy companies. We worked with the Smithsonian, and we produced like these like large scale events, and they're kind of like pop-up theme parks in a way.
Okay,
And so because we represent all the studios, including Marvel Studios, we were, it kind of gave me a reason to hit all the Comic Cons again, because, we see a lot of them now, but when I was doing them, we were kind of the early ones that built these like experiential mazes that people could walk through. Experiences where you walk in, you're like in the world, you play the role. So while the team would be building, I would discover Artist Alley again, and really started meeting a lot of these artists, and really had no idea that that you could buy the art. But leading up to that, kind of let me rewind a couple of years. A person that I ran into during this advertising world was Sean Chen, because he had left comics and he was doing storyboards. And I would say, like, fast forward from Wolverine to what I fell in love with, Valiant Universe was what like really got me in, because by then I was I would consider myself fluent English at the time, and the story, I loved the characters and how practical it was, so I loved Valiant. So when I met Sean in the advertising world, I was like, dude, I used to read your comics. And he's like, yeah, let's work together. So I would hire him to do a bunch of stuff. He did a bunch of stuff for us, for Amazon, for I think something for Marvel as well, a bunch of stuff. And then during the summer of pandemic, he started posting these like sequentials on his Instagram, and they were getting a lot of cool reads. And I would call him and ask him about them. And I just thought the material surrounding his behind the scenes were just as interesting as the material he was putting out. And so, because it turned out he was just making stuff up as it goes. But it was very, very well written, and it was kind of funny, like, and kind of dark and quirky. And so I said, why don't we put a book out? It's pandemic, we're bored, let's just put a book out. And my team, they were up for whatever. They're on payroll, so might as well do something. We're not producing events during pandemic. So we started this company called Next Chapter. And it was basically a comic book publishing company showcasing behind the scenes books. So we made a book, we packaged it, we set up a shop, and we were supposed to drop it on August 2020, which we did. But I caught COVID, and I got caught bad, meaning I was pretty much out for about 6 weeks. I was basically about 30 pounds lighter than I am now. So I literally, my wife thought I was going to die. She's an ER nurse, and she brought everything home and set up ER at home and saved my life. But after that was kind of the seed. So we had that book. It went out. We sold like 100 copies, which wasn't super impressive, but we tried our best. But then, during my road to recovery, it just kept was replaying in the back of my mind. Said, man, like I missed out. I wish I was there.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until 2021 when we really started getting active in optioning IP for film and TV. I started talking to Justin Jordan about some of the IP that he owns, and then we started talking about the comic book industry, and that's kind of like how the whole business of it came together.
Okay.
We want to just back one book, which is Zero Ghost. So Zero Ghost is like 4 years in the making because we basically started in 2020, and it was basically the book where we learn our lessons, and so I can say like some of the other books, I've gotten pretty far along, but those Zero Ghosts that really, gave us our start.
Oh, okay. So I see. I see how you got why you're calling it like 2.0 now. But man, what that must have been like when you're ready to launch, and then you get COVID. That sucks. I just got COVID for the third time, and I'm just kind of like recovering from it. But it seems like every time I go to Chicago, I catch COVID, and this is the third time in 3 years. I go there and I come back and I got it. And the one that I caught this time was actually the worst one that I've had. And what sucks is this: I took a booster at the beginning of the year, right? Because I kept hearing too much people getting sick at the cons, right? And I kind of, being an older person, I wanted to get that booster as a precaution, but it seems like it didn't really help that much. Yeah, maybe in the recovery, but yeah, still got to be careful when you go out to the shows out there.
Oh man,
I'm probably gonna have to start taking a little more precaution than what I have been doing in the past, especially with New York Comic Con coming up in about like 6 weeks, which is one of the bigger shows that there is. So yeah.
I mean, San Diego Comic Con. I mentioned my wife is an ER nurse. The week before San Diego Comic Con, my wife had a little gathering here, and it was like like 6 or 7 nurses from the ER, and they were all telling us how things were spiking in the ER out of nowhere. It went from like 0 cases to like 5 or 6 a day, and so my wife was like, "All right, for this San Diego Comic Con, you're wearing a mask," and so I did, and so thank God, because I felt like everyone else caught COVID, and I dodged the bullet.
Yeah,
Mel, I think the trick is you have to stop touching people, Mel. Like you're very touchy. You want to hug them. You want to shake their hand always.
I'm from Hawaii. What can I say? We hug, we shake. We're very physical that way.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm gonna have to. I got to cut back on that. I am seriously thinking about wearing a mask for New York as well, especially because that's an area that's going to have a lot more other people than what I'm normally exposed to, because you'll have people from Europe there as well, so it might be a little bit different. So I just want to prepare for that.
Wouldn't be bad to be safe, for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Speaking of New York. I hear myself. Anyway, did you guys watch The Quiet Place Day 1? That was good.
No,
I did.
You gotta watch it. I can't watch anything that you gotta look at.
It was like an interesting take, I thought, for A Quiet Place, and it was. I think for me, it was like somewhat enjoyable. Good way to kill a couple hours.
Yeah, that's fun. It's hard to beat the first one. The first one was so good.
First one was good. First one was dope. But yeah, well, so 7:29 right now. Let's take a go around the room and see how everybody's doing on the artwork here. And we have Erwin Papa's Wonder Woman. Oh my God, the head is disconnected. Still working on that. Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
And we're looking for an opening bid on that for $60. Okay, so if you want to bid on it, you can go ahead and put that in the comments. And now, Mr. Fish, I see you've done quite a bit on there. Working on a Dr. Doom sketch cover. Oh,
So
looking
fast.
Yeah. They don't call me
Did
the
you-
fastest man for nothing.
I know.
Very cool.
And he's
I
looking for
literally just started sketching while we were talking at the beginning of the show.
He is. He's been like that. He's always fast. But he is looking. We are looking for an opening bid of $50 on that. If you want to put that, go ahead and place your bid in the comments. And then, last but not least, is Mog
Ooh.
working on a nice piece there. Got the pencils in for
Very nice.
Steampunk Jinx.
Gracias.
Okay.
Yes.
Looking for an opening bid of $100 on that. And on that note, don't go away. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming dead by sleep.
You love comic books. You collect comic books. But even if you own a rare, expensive issue, it's still a copy. How would you like to own a piece of comic book history? The actual art pages the comics were made from? Oh no, you say. That's too expensive. Regular people can't afford that stuff. Can they? Nick Barucci says yes. Join the founder of Dynamite Entertainment for the original art experience on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Incredible art at almost unbelievable prices. Does he have some high dollar pieces for the high rollers? Sure, but Nick always makes sure to find amazing pieces priced for the fledgling collector. You can collect original comic art. The original art experience. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Part of the experience.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks again for coming on Thursday night, watching SketchUp live with Mog and Mel. Today, our special guest is Carl Choi from 24/7 Comics, and we'll be taking a look at his Zero Ghost Kickstarter. But first of all, Carl, you also collect, you have a nice collection behind you of some art. What kind of artwork draws you the best?
You know, it kind of evolves, man. I think in 2017, one of the guys I met who was in the industry was Bernard Chang. And he is, you know, also a friend of Sean's. And we met at dinner. And then after that, I had an activation I was managing at New York Comic Con. And that was the first time where I went into the artist alley, said hi to Bernard, and then saw his portfolio. And then I flipped and I saw a bunch of Nightwing stuff, which I love Nightwing. And so, hi, Lilia. So it's like a Nightwing, and I was like, what is it? He's like, oh, these are for sale. I was like, really? And so I bought a couple pieces, and I was like, man, if art's for sale, what else is out there? And so I went to Ron Lim's table, and I bought some Infinity Gauntlet pages. And then after that, I just started kind of like, kid in the candy store and just started picking stuff up. But it was like all over the place. It was just whatever like my emotions led me to. It wasn't like any deep thought. It was just stuff that caught my attention. And then for a while, I was really deep into modern art because there's like art dealers that basically have email lists and they keep you updated. And I think we're just often our DNA as Americans, we're more lazy than we are cheap. So when it's being fed to us, then we're like, hell yeah, I'll buy that art. And then I was doing a lot of that. And then as time passed, the art got more and more expensive. And because it did, I started thinking, man, if I'm going to spend this kind of money, I should really think about, what kind of what art really spoke to me growing up. So I can safely say today, I have a much more narrow scope as far as like buying art goes, and really tied to a few areas. One is nostalgia, which is for a few of the artists like Barry Windsor Smith, Joe Quesada. I mean, those two are probably like my biggest nostalgia artists. And then as far as my nostalgia characters is Azrael from Batman Sword of Azrael. And The Darkness, Mark Silvestri's.
Mark Silvestri's Darkness, yeah.
So those are kind of two like immediate pop-ups. And then I have some general themes surrounding like Valiant covers and like some of the Image stuff. And then I'm like really pretty into like Superman as well, like certain covers from the 90s. And then on the modern side, I just love Daniel Warren Johnson and Trad Moore. And so those two guys. And so that's kind of what. And then I also have a third category, which is original Magic art. So I play a lot of Magic the Gathering. So I actually love the paintings. And so
those are expensive.
Fun. Yeah. They're fun. I mean, they've got like everything's gotten expensive because I think our government printed too much money, so everything is worth 4x more.
But,
right?
Yeah. And I feel you there because I'm a big Magic player myself.
Nice.
Started it when they originally came out. In fact, I was one of the biggest Magic dealers in the country when Magic first came out. Actually, in the world, I was actually kind of like a world dealer.
I know, that was awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel you on the art. Mog wants to hopefully one day break in and do some artwork for them. So I know that's one of her goals. Yeah. Hey, Drew, nice seeing you.
Speaking of Drew Moss, man, I was hitting him up for artwork at one point.
Oh yeah,
great guy.
Yeah, and I love the nostalgic artists as well. That's the area I like. So when you said Barry Windsor Smith, he's up there at one of the at the top of my list with a lot of other guys. But what piece do you have as far as like your original artwork goes? Do you like treasure the most?
What art piece do I treasure the most? Can I say two?
Yeah.
I would say the most, number one for sure, is Archer and Armstrong Zero cover. So that's I don't remember that a lot. I mean, honestly, it probably doesn't mean much to anyone, but it means the world because that was one of the first Valiant comics I read that I was like, it was super relatable because it's about this young kid who grew up in the church. Dad's a pastor, mom's a whatever, and then he basically discovered that they're like killer assassins or something. They're like doing shady stuff. So he runs away from the house and he meets random folks, and he ends up meeting Armstrong, who's this like weird drunk, and he basically adventures the world with him. And it kind of reminds me of myself because I as soon as I was old enough to drive, I got out of the church, traveled the world, and basically met a lot of random mentors, right? And got in all kinds of trouble. So it was very relatable because it almost kind of like set the course for how I live my life. And the second one that people might know more so, and I'm actually going to throw in the third, which I think people will know better. The second one was actually Unity's #1 cover. So
I remember that.
Yeah, everyone remembers that because it was free, right? It was like the free #1. So that was also like my first Barry Windsor Smith cover with all the characters on it.
Yeah.
And I think my third, and actually like probably up there too, is I have a cover for Sword of Azrael number 4, with Azrael jumping over the flames onto Batman's shadow. So a lot of people know about that one. So those are the ones that really stand out to me.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Do you mostly? Oh,
go ahead, Mog.
Oh, do you mostly like heroes instead of villains? Is there any villains that you really like?
I do. Let me see where it is. You see in my background this Bruce Timm?
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh.
That's the
I see the
villain,
Bruce Timm piece.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I have this Joker sketchbook that I started. It's my first sketchbook. I never did a sketchbook before, but I decided to go with the Joker. And then a good friend of mine, he actually is a calligrapher. So he did In the Shape of Water. He did what else? Mother. He did a ton of like movie poster stuff.
Oh wow.
With calligraphy, and he did mine. So I thought it'd be kind of cool for an artist to be inspired by a prompt. So I basically put this, and then I basically took this around different conventions and started having folks work on my Joker sketchbook. So this is
nice.
Simone de Mio, DK Ron.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to flip it while I'm holding it. Alex O'Reilly.
That's a nice one there. Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Mateo Bagaras.
Wow.
This I always get, but it's Italian artist. I can't pronounce his name. Dan Mora. This is one of my favorites. This is Matt Leniski. He's definitely check out his book from Omni, who's
okay.
This is Brian Ching, actually the artist for Zero Ghosts himself.
Yeah.
Rocked out on this one. I love this version because it's, the Heath Ledger. This Mannix. I don't know if you guys heard of Mannix before.
Yeah. We've seen him around.
Yeah, he's definitely getting around. This is Jim Mahfood. And it's really cool.
Okay.
A lot of the little sticker stuff here.
Yeah, put a lot of texture in there.
There's this one. Speaking of texture, this guy Wayshak is such a badass. He went all out. Look at the texture on this thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I like that.
That is so nice.
Very emotional. That guy is a beast. There's Elvin Chang. He did a lot of work here. He's a Singapore-based artist. I was in Singapore for business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was asking some of the reps if they have any artists there. And then
oh my god,
Zhu Orzu was there as well. She's also in Singapore at the time.
Wow.
There's Jay Lee himself.
Jay Lee is
yeah, he's so good, but he put Joker in the underwear, the Batman boxers.
I like it.
Straight out of Target.
Yeah.
Crease.
Oh yeah.
You guys know Crease?
Oh yeah. I mean, we know Crease.
Yeah, and speaking of magic, look what Joker is holding on this.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? Because we play Magic together. So.
Oh yeah, you played Magic with Crease?
Yeah, I do. He's deep into it. You should join next time. We're gonna have to play at New York Comic Con or something.
But because he's out in New York. You're in LA, right?
I see him all the time, though. I travel a lot. I hit all the time.
Okay.
There's Jesse Lanigan, awesome Joker, eating bullets. Oh, this guy is a badass. I always have to stare at it. Jeremy Bastian, this guy. I don't know how he draws like this.
Oh my god.
That's like some old style stuff. Old style art that we'd see from the kind of like the 60s and 70s.
Dude, it's fine
insanity.
art.
Yeah, it's fine art. Yeah. Oh, here's a classic one.
Finch. Yep.
Yeah. Finch.
So good.
Yeah, that's classic.
This is Vince Sanico. He also has a book of us. And I won't spoil the name yet, but look out for that.
All right.
This is what's the name? Why am I blinking? Kevin McGuire.
Oh,
Wow.
which I loved a lot. It's cool. It's a classic.
That is classic McGuire.
Yep.
That
And
smile he
then,
puts on there.
Templeton. I know we should make these in the covers, huh?
Yeah,
Platt.
that's a very impressive sketchbook.
I
You
know.
can tell a lot of money went into that.
Oh man.
That's something that you gotta, when you carry that around cons, you gotta guard that thing with your life.
So what's cool about Platt is he made this book. If you go to his Instagram, he has a reel showing all the Jokers before he got to his. And that reel got like thousands and thousands of views.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And this is Near Livy. He's a kind of a new artist, but amazing. Like really fun.
Wow.
European kind
Dude,
of
look at all that detail.
yeah.
Wow.
He did like
That's a lot of-
Renaissance. He told me it's inspired by like a Renaissance painting. That's super fun. And
See,
this is Sawi from the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's 4 more pages, so I have a few folks lined up. But yeah, no. So Mog, that was a very, very long way to answer your question, but yes, I do. Like
Well worth the trip.
You know what? That was a nice trip through that sketchbook. Thank you so much for sharing it. It was wonderful to see all those wonderful art pages.
I'm tired now. I'm tired from showing
for
it.
the con. I'm going to be looking for that book in your hands.
It's usually in someone else's hands. That's usually like the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have that, and I have a Valiant sketchbook. That's been much harder to fill up because the prop is OG Valiant Universe by OG Valiant artists.
Okay, you're gonna have
It's
a
a hunt.
hard one
It's
with
hard.
that. But who are some of the Valiant artists that you have in there already?
I think we have Bob Hall in there.
Okay.
I have Jim Calafori.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Bart Sears just completely murdered it. He oh my god, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It looked like a public. He made a published cover in my sketchbook.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then
we haven't seen too much of him lately, but I've seen postings from him recently. So I don't know if he's like ready to come back to fully come back in again. So I really enjoyed his artwork. I enjoyed the articles that he had in Wizard. So I do hope that he comes back and shows more. We can see more of his artwork.
Oh yeah,
the guy's a master.
Yeah, he's a master, true master. And then Kevin Van Hook has it right now because he just did that whole Rise Zero.
You're right, Rise Zero. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rise Zero, Bloodshot Zero, or something new for Valiant.
You're right.
Because he was drawing again. I was like, all right, since you're drawing again, you're OG, so get in this book. So he has it now.
Cool. All right. That's pretty good to see. You could probably tell that's going to be another quality book that's going to get filled up there because you got some exquisite taste.
Oh man, that one is hard. That was really hard. And so there's just not a lot of like OG Valiant artists at cons anymore. So I'm now hunting them down on Instagram and scheduling time to ship them the book so they can work on it. And so
that's going to kill some of the timing for the cons and stuff too.
I know.
But yeah, that's how it goes when you're filling up for a sketchbook. So are those your very first ones that you've been working on?
That's my first sketchbook.
Oh, okay. And when did you start the Joker one? Trying to get an idea of the pace that you're going at.
New York last year.
Oh, that is quick.
Yeah, New York last year.
Man, that is quick.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, if you're just getting that by just going to cons, okay, man, how many cons are you hitting a year?
A good amount. I think I've been probably hitting at least like 6 or 7 a year. I think. Emerald City. I went to Comics Pro this year. I don't know if that's a con. I don't know if it counts. Heroes Con, San Diego Comic Con, Baltimore coming up, New York, obviously. I'll probably stop by LA, and then also traveling, not just the cons too. So when I was in Singapore, when I was in New York,
so that's how you got some of those guys.
Yeah, when I was trying for work, I'll be like, "Who's over here? Who's here? Can take my book." And when I'll be in town for like 3 days, then I'll just give them the book overnight, and I'll just meet them up after. And it's nice because you get to like break bread with the artist as well, just to hang out.
Right.
I always feel like, you know, when artists pour their heart out for you on something, like I always want to thank them, and so it's great to be able to buy them a drink or buy them a meal or something like that. It's always nice.
Yeah, and that's what happens quite a bit, because they do want to get to well, as in like for Mog, right? People do want to get to spend a little more like personal time, get to know her and stuff like that. So, but we still kind of like scrutinize like who it is and stuff. So we are kind of careful, but for the most part, we do meet with our fans. In fact, we're going to be meeting a couple fans off of here of SketchUp in New York. So I won't tell you who it is, but yeah, it's
listening to you, Carl, speak, it's like if you love something, it's almost like an obsession now. It's you just go all in.
I'm completely obsessed. I mean, I feel like I'm always like, when I get focused on something, and I have a goal, it just has to happen. So I haven't like stayed in one career path for super long. It's always like a decade at a time. But I feel like this comic book thing may be much longer than what I've done in the past, because I worked a season of my life in nightlife, which I went all in. Then I went to talent management, which I went all in. So I used to represent musicians, film actors, and in film and television. And then now in this phase where I would say like I'm like a producer publisher, because the way I think about IP that we're creating, I'm thinking about bringing the creator team along for every portion of it, because if we're gonna win, we should win together. It doesn't feel good. I don't think it feels good for a creator to create a character for a company and then see it on the big screen, and then they're still trying to struggle to pay rent, right? Like for me, it's never made sense to me. So that's kind of how. So it's kind of cool. Like everyone we've been working with is kind of like a squad. Everyone like got each other's back, and that's kind of the culture that I'd love to bring back in this new generation, because it was super surprising to me where when I met with some of the writers and artists of like certain books I've seen recently, like I don't know, like Batman or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, what's it like working with that writer XYZ? And he's like, I have no idea, I never met him before. I was like, what? And then I'll meet the colorist, and I'll be like, yo, what's it like working with that artist? I don't know, never met him before. I was like, how do you guys work on anything creative? Like, how do you work on a collaborative form without human interaction? So I never understood that. So we're really trying to bring all that back, because I hear, back in the day, Valiant, they had these bullpens, and even Image, the bullpens, everyone kind of work together, and they stay late nights, they go drink, they'll hang out, and they come back with, and they'll just work together. And I feel like, that reflected on the pages that we consume as kids. And so, I guess in parallel, when I think about, filmmaking, when you watch a movie, you could tell if they were having fun on the set. You could tell if the team members had synergy, but often, like if they don't, you could tell as well, right? And so I think that's very similar in comic creation as well.
Yeah, it has changed, and that's only been happening recently with the development of the internet, right? Because even through the 90s, okay, if you wanted to work, even for Image, right, it was in your best interest to move to where they were, whichever studio you wanted to work with. Same thing with Marvel and DC back in the 60s and the 70s. If you want to work for them, it's best, you go to New York, right? And you show up there, and maybe you can hook up with some of the other artists and find out what apartment complex they're living in, because it wasn't uncommon to find like a group of them living in the same apartment where they would just hang out in each other's rooms, drawing, inking, whatever it was they were doing. And those are fun things to read about in the newspapers and magazines that we have going on. But even like in the 90s, right, comic book store that I had, right, and a comic book store that I would work with that was close to Extreme Studios in Fullerton. Every Wednesday, Rob would walk in with his 24 artists into the shop and get the comic books that they wanted and stuff.
So cool. So like,
Yeah.
such a visual there, like,
Yeah.
like, I love hearing Rob's podcast because he just tells stories and I could tell like that's so much fun.
It was a fun time during that time. It was, right, even though there's all kinds of stuff going on, right, but it was still fun, but there's that camaraderie that you get when you're working in a group together and they're all in one place physically. You're gonna have your dramas here and there, but you're still going out together, and that's how it was, but now with the way how we work, we send everything through emails or whatever we have. We've kind of gotten a bit disconnected, and we don't see the people. We might get a script and we know who wrote it, but we don't communicate with that person. We don't see them. So it's a little bit different these days. Kind of cool that we can crank it out quickly, but a little bit disconcerting that we're losing that touch there. Yeah. But anyway, let's take a look at where everybody's at, starting with Erwin.
Nice.
Whoa.
Oh, awesome.
I like the expression there, the raised eyebrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to start working out.
Get those fingers.
Yeah.
Got the fingers built up on the side there, looking nice. All right, we're still looking for an opening bid of $60 on that. Don't let it get away. That is super cheap. All right, Mr. Fish. Mr. Fish is looking for 50. Another great piece by Mr. Fish.
Sorry, jump on Mog and Mel. I just want to let you know that we do have an opening bid of $60 for Erwin Papa's Wonder Woman from Ilya.
Okay.
Good job.
Oh, thank you for that. From Ilya, who happens to be in New York. All right, so we are looking for 50 on this for Mr. Fish. Don't let that get away. And now, Miss Mog Park.
Oh, man. I'm so behind.
Okay. Jinx is looking good.
Thank you.
And what's that on her back?
I don't know, some booster gadget she can fly around with.
Oh, I thought it was some kind of creature or something. Those look like a pair of eyeballs there.
No.
All right, so we're looking for 100 for that on there. Okay. When we come back, we're going to take a look at Zero Ghosts, the Kickstarter, see where there is at, and see if we can get you guys to give some love and support to that project. I think you're going to like it.
Let's take a look.
Yeah. All right, so we'll be right back after this commercial break.
We know you probably get a lot of emails, but could you please make sure to sign up for our mailing list? We don't send a lot of emails, and we try not to bother you. We just want to give you the best information about all the cool stuff that's going on around here. Sign up on our website, theexplive.com.
Some comic live streams seem like they're just throwing everything at the wall. Hey, you want this unknown comic? Yeah, here, how about this boring one? Found this one in a rain gutter, give me some money for it. I know this looks like a rotting sandwich, but I swear it's a comic. Pay me! But with Comic Collectibles, we know you don't just want comics, you want the right comics. You want rare variant and incentive covers, vintage books in pristine condition at prices you won't find anywhere else, and truly unique hand-drawn cover sketches by some of the most amazing artists in the business. Join Rex and his rotating cast of co-hosts live from Dynamite Entertainment headquarters for a carefully curated roster of comics that you'll only find here at Comic Collectibles. Every Monday at 6 and Wednesday at 7 Eastern Time. Part of the experience. Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today.
All right, thanks again for coming back for SketchUp. Don't forget to hit that follow button. Help us continue to bring us wonderful broadcast content like Nick Brucci's original artwork every Fridays at 7. And if you haven't yet, put in #EXP Zero Ghost to qualify you in for the free giveaways that we have tonight. And we have 5 big ones to do that. And fill out that survey. Help us improve our show here as well. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at Zero Ghost.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see this.
There.
It's so awesome.
And if Janie, I don't know, I'm going to leave it up to you if we can run that. Okay, here we go. Take a look at this.
Growing up in this city taught me one thing. Everyone makes a deal with the devil. I just never expected mine to be real. You see, this place is run by 5 families. And in order to get anywhere in this world, you need to work with them. Play by their rules. That's what my father told me before he went missing, before he was taken. Alliances built on a foundation of deceit. And now I make new bonds. Ones that can never be broken. Power is the only true pact. That's why I've traded everything for it. With it, I'll take my vengeance. Everyone here makes a deal with the devil, including me. It's why I'm now a shell, a carapace, a vessel, a zero ghost.
My name is Brian Ching. I am the artist and co-creator of Zero Ghost.
My name is Will Quintana, and I am the colorist on Zero Ghost.
Hi, I'm Justin Jordan, and I really just wanted to take this time to thank you for checking out our Kickstarter. I hope you like what we're doing with Zero Ghost. It's a really cool project that we've been working on for a long time, and I'm really excited to show it to the world. Zero Ghost is about Kira Kane, who is the heir to a crime family that rules the city they live in by use of magic. That was what was going on until her entire family was killed and somebody tried to sacrifice her to summon a death angel. Unfortunately for them, Kira manages to bond the death angel named Shrike to herself, and now she's out on a roaring rampage of revenge. The only problem is that using Shrike's powers costs her her very soul.
Zero Ghost got started maybe 2 years ago for me. Carl Choi, our publisher, and Justin Jordan, our writer, reached out to me and showed me a little bit about this project. I think the initial influence was John Woo movies.
A lot of the Hong Kong influence in there as well. A lot of the neon lighting gives.
Yeah, I caught that right away in that trailer there. That it's and Brian Ching's art, I think, really fits the mood and the story that you're trying to tell. The dark underworld of where it's taking place. So I did appreciate that as well in there. But you're going off of, like you mentioned, like John Woo and Keanu Reeves and stuff like that. Those are like good action directors and actors. So and you seem to have captured that feel in the trailer. How many issues is this going to be, or is this just a one shot?
It's a 6-issue arc. So the way our publishing works is we actually don't release anything until we're almost done with all 6 issues. So for this Kickstarter, it's for the first 3 issues. And I think we finished colors this week with issue number 6. So
Wow.
that's just one of our mandates. And that's
Smart.
why it took us 4 years to come out with anything, because I just felt like, as a fan myself, one of the things I hate doing is waiting. I'm just very impatient, like most Americans and most people in the world now. Thank you, Amazon. We're trained to like get our things the next day. So, we wanted to make sure that we have our books done before we come out to market.
Right, and there's not a lot of people that can do that. There is a few, and we've had even some of them on the show here.
Yeah, I'm on the show.
They all the work is pretty much done before they get it up on Kickstarter. We have one where she even has the books printed before the Kickstarter is even over. She's got a pretty good read on her project, and that's Carissa Grant, right? But and for you, that is a big financial risk to be also taking, because you're actually invested a whole lot more, and you're not even sure how it's going to go, but you've already invested up to the 6th issue.
Yeah, no, I think I'm on the same boat as Mog, where she says like anyone can learn to draw. I also feel like any IP can become a big IP if you're willing to commit to it. I think IPs only disappear when the team gives up, but for us, we're creating timeless stories. We like to think we're heavily inspired by stuff we love growing up. Meaning, I think these days a lot of storytelling is inspired by mandates from the top down. I think for us, this one, Zero Goes, I like to call it, if you found a John Wick's daughter in a near futuristic cyberpunk Hong Kong that existed in the same world as Big Trouble in Little China. That's kind of how I like to explain it. So those are all the stuff I love growing up.
All fun stuff right there.
Yeah, and so it's gonna be an adventure, man. I feel like anyone who is willing to take a risk on us, just know we already took a bigger risk than you. So to give you something that hopefully is worth your dollar, and we appreciate every tier. Like I think similar as what you said, like we are going wider as well. I think like we could go and do these whale tiers and call my friends and like get them booked, but we were very realistic with the kind of tiers we created that I think made the most sense, and we realized there's been a lot of interest so far, and we're pretty happy about that.
Right.
Yeah,
because one of the things that stands out from your Kickstarter, you don't have too many bells and whistles. You don't have like a lot of variant covers that a lot of Kickstarters try to push out there and try to get their numbers up that way, where they're just selling, the artwork off of variant covers, right? And so that's another credit to your Kickstarter and the numbers that you got, because you didn't really do that. In fact, what was your idea behind that, as to not wanting to go in some of those directions that other Kickstarters have gone to?
I think less is more. We do have a variant package, but we'll never print those covers again. Like it was more of an experiment, but we packaged it as one tier instead of having different tiers. To like we're not here for a popularity contest. I think for us it's more about, hey, if folks want to get into certain tiers, like let's just be very straight up about it. We don't need 20 variants. We just have one tier, and that's it. If you want a sketch from Brian, we have one tier. And then if you want artist edition, black and white, you want to see Brian's art before we colored it, there's that tier too. So less is more. I think that's just always been my philosophy. Can we have maybe done more gimmicks and then gotten bigger turnout? Yeah, I think so. But we also don't want our mission is getting people to read dope comics again. That's it. And I feel like when there's too many bells and whistles, like you kind of start moving away from people wanting to read or appreciate the art, and they get distracted by other things, right? But don't get me wrong, we're big on collectability too. Like we have a game plan long term with what we want to do in the retail side as well as the online side, and we're very conscious of print run and very transparent about it. So you'll see that we'll start publishing our print run numbers for each of the issues and different variations. Yeah, so we have a game plan. Yeah, we just want to do things a little differently.
Okay, great. And I'm actually glad to hear that, because I actually totally agree with you. I think when you have a lot of variant covers, or even a variant, you know how they'll do like metal covers, chrome covers, and all that. I think it's okay to have some of that, right? But when you've got like a dozen variant covers, and then you're offering each one in a metal or chrome, it does take away. Then it becomes that you start thinking, okay, are you trying to sell the comic and the story that you're working on, or are you just here basically using this to sell the art, right? Because then you run the risk, because all that artwork isn't going to come free. Maybe you might be able to get some of it free from a friend or something, but it's going to cost you money, and that's just going to run up your costs. That's going to bite into your final numbers, your profit. So you run a bit of a risk as well. And I've seen some of these companies that have just like popped up in the last 2 or 3 years, and that's what they seem to be doing. So, and I can see like issues that they're having, right? So I think the way to go is very close to what you're doing. Is, you know, you're starting it off kind of simple in a way, but in a way too, you've got to grow into those numbers and know how to manage it. And a lot of people don't know how to do that right away. That's something that comes with experience, right? So
and you know how many books you're really selling, as opposed to how many copies of the same thing can you sell to a certain number of people, but like how many people actually want to read your book. And those are numbers that most people never get. They're just getting variant covers, and you know how many of their buddies they can get to come buy their book in hopes that you'll buy theirs later. Like, I want to know how many people actually want to read this. So, you know, is it worth doing the next issues and whatnot? Like,
yeah, and that's why I said, like, when I look at the Kickstarters, right, the number that interests me the most is the number of backers, right? Because if that number is up there, then I associate that closer to the number of people that actually want to read the book, you know, not just necessarily for the art. Of course, the art, you know, is good, but if you're going to keep, I think, your customer base, it's going to be on the story and the art. It's going to be both, right? But you'll be able to keep them much longer if you can do both, right, instead of just one. Because an artist can move from book to book and they'll follow that artist. But if you've got a good story going on, even if the artist leaves, they're going to stay, right? Because you still got something that they want to get to read. You know, you've just pretty much started out, and you've talked about many people that you're signing up. How many books have you got lined up already? IPs.
We may have 8 more books. That's already in production. I think we're about 36 issues finished in total.
Wow. Impressive.
So
are we going to see any more from 24/7 this year?
We're gonna launch a pre-launch page as soon as this one's over for another book, and that was a bit of a unique. Actually, it's with Kreese. Kreese has a book of us. Yeah.
Okay.
So what's really cool about this one is Kreese actually was like our 3rd book that we started, and he was just like a kid, like 4 years ago. If you think about it, he's a kid now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But he's had so much more work ever since then that his style has evolved. So it's really cool. You're gonna actually see him grow up with each issue. So issue 1 to 2 to 3, each of them are different because he had some space in between. Because you know, for me, you know, like I mentioned, like my artists and my creator team, they're my business partners. So if they come to me and say, "Hey, Carl, Marvel just gave me a call to work on Fantastic Four run. What should I do?" I always say, "You should pause what we're doing here and go do that, and then come back." And because I feel like that's good for him and that's good for us as he grows. And then so he did that, he came back, he did issue 2, then he got a call for the Iron Man run, and then I was like, "You should go do that." He went and did that, and then he came. So it's like it's been fun, like working with him, because it's been so fluid and collaborative, and we've just totally become friends and play Magic together, and it's a really fun collaboration. So because I feel like when you have all these like pressure under deadline where you have to deliver a book a month, you're just not doing your best work, man. It's just tough. And yeah, Kreese's work has evolved, but at each evolution, he was doing his best work. I can say that.
Okay. Yeah, we only met him. We didn't really meet. I think we met him only like 2 years ago, and he was he's still kind of timid and shy then, right? But yeah, since then we can see like his work is evolving and growing. So we're happy to see that, and I'm glad to hear that he's hooked up with you, and excited to see what he does under your leadership there. So yeah, that's great to hear, right? Is that going to be? Can you give us an idea of like what type of book is that going to be? Is that going to be very still kind of similar to Zero Ghost, or is it going to be something that's totally different?
It's counter programming, actually. It's pretty different. It's a little bit of action, but it's also a little different in context. I guess I could talk about it. I mean, actually, I'll just drop it. We'll just drop it later. We'll look up for the trailer.
Okay. Okay. No
it's
worries.
a fun one. It's super fun. So
okay.
It's different.
Right.
It's fun. It's very fitting for Kreese, I think, and the creative team. I'll talk about the creative team. Justin Kalen Chen, he's one of the writers and executive producers on Bel Air, the show on Paramount, which is like a sequel to Fresh Prince of Bel Air. He was also one of the writers on Brother Son on Netflix. So yeah, he's a TV guy, and
okay.
Yeah, and the way I discovered this was he was pitching it around as a screenplay. And because I work in media on the producing side, and one of my friends who was an agent at CAA says, "Hey, Carl, you're doing this comic book thing. I was reading this screenplay. It reads like a freaking comic book, man. Like, you want to check it out?" And so I read it, and I was like, "Dude, this should be a comic book." And so we ended up, finding Kreese, and they all got along, and it's been really kind of like a little mini brotherhood that's happened surrounding this title. But it's super fun. It's telling stories from like a very unique perspective as well, because you have a couple of TV writers working on this. So they're thinking, they were learning as well as what the possibilities are. So because comic book storytelling has so many different tools and dynamics with the pages, page flips, and all that, like they were using it in ways that haven't been used before, and it really kind of also takes you out of like a traditional format and the way we know it. So it's been fun. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Because a lot of times I hear like the comic writers are trying to incorporate a little bit more of how TV movie scripts are written, right? And because the style of comic writing, when they write the scripts for comics, is a little bit different, because it is different to medium. So that's a little bit weird in a way, I guess.
It is weird. I mean, in fact, when I worked in the business, like I remember the producer I used to work with, he knows I'm a comic book guy, so he would always send me the comic books to look at. And there were, comics got so popular. Like early on, it was like comics I was familiar with, and I'll check it out, I'll give feedback. But then later, I would get comics, and I'll be like, "Hey, was this ever published?" And they'll be like, "No, this is a TV show. They just turned their pilot into a comic book." And I was like, "Yeah, it reads like a TV show, So yeah, it was weird how it became like a pitching format. But I also understand, because people just don't read anymore,
But that also seems to be kind of like the trend on how to develop an IP, is that especially going towards a TV or movies, that a lot of them now want to see some numbers before they can even want to take a look at it. So people have been writers or creatives have been looking into comics to try and get that build up that following, that fellowship there. So this way they've got something, and it's also a good way to test your product to see how it stands and how it holds. So, and we saw a lot of that happening back in the 90s, especially with Image, when they were just starting to get some of their shows on TV and whatnot, and the movies. And then they saw that how much money they could make off of that, even if it's just a pitch, right? So I remember like Mark Silvestri just had like one lawyer. That's all he hired him for. Just go to Hollywood and make these pitches, and hoping that one of them was going to land. That'll be $1 million that he can recoup all his costs for the whole year just to pay this lawyer guy off and all the other guys that he has working for him to do pitches and write pitches. But yeah, that's kind of like where it's going. And we've seen a lot come from the comic side that has made it into TV, especially in the early 2000s. You had Heroes, and then of course you had like Walking Dead, amongst the two that come up in my mind. And I know you're kind of like doing the same thing too. You're hoping that these IPs are develop into like a TV show or a movie. Do you gear all of them for that, or are you having it that Summer's just going to be a comic that you want to do for fun?
Honestly, for us, I'd be lying if I said we would want any of our IPs to become a feature film or a TV show. I mean, that's everyone's dream, right? But one of the major mandates that we have is comics first. It needs to read as a comic, and it needs to be a really strong comic book. It's not doing a comic for TV. It's not doing a comic for movies. So I think for us, it's really about establishing that audience and earning that trust. And that's also why, on our website, if you go to 247comics.com, you could see all the number ones that we have for free. And these are the Ashcan edition. So they're almost unedited, a little bit raw. So as an audience, you get to commentary on it. But if you want the more polished version, then yeah, you could pick one up. But it gives everyone a preview as to what they're getting into, because we have a lot of confidence in our team, and so I feel like our creator teams are really putting their best foot forward. So why wouldn't we give them our best as far as being able to market and really put it out there?
Okay, you heard that, guys. 247comics.com. Okay, you can head over now and check out all the projects that 247 has, and see what you can pick up. I definitely think 247 is going to be a publisher to watch. I've liked everything that Carl has talked to us about today, and his business philosophy. Totally agree with that. I know. Right now, is there a project that you are most excited about?
It's weird. I don't have kids, but I think now I understand when people say, it's like when you ask who's your favorite children, who's your favorite child. That's a really hard one to answer. They all kind of check off a box in a way for our portfolio. And it's not like we're, trying to do any kind of like, multiverse or like a connected realm like Valiant, right? I think that's kind of, if it happens, cool. If there's some cool crossovers, that makes sense, yeah. But we're not forcing that. I think for us, it's super simple, like kind of like our model is great art, great stories, and for us, it's really getting people to read again. And I realize so many people actually don't read comics anymore, especially. I have a lot of good friends in the comic art collecting community, and so many of them literally just don't even read comics anymore. They blind buy art. Like they look at art and this art's so good, it's published. All right, I'm gonna get it, and there's no context as to like what story it's from and everything else. For me, it's actually really important to be part of a story. So I think we really try to set up an infrastructure that supports our creator teams in a way that puts out their best work. And even for us, when we think about our role, for example, it's getting these ash cans out. We want to try something different, so we went to a commercial printer that doesn't usually do comics, and they were able to help print from paper that's way higher quality. And then if you look at the colors, they pop like crazy because of just the way the kind of colors that we use wasn't like what you would normally see at a comic press.
How is that an ash can? That's
it's a full comic, yeah. So we basically even limit to 1,000 copies, because we want people to experience it. I mean, like, comics should be an experience, and for me, if we could put this in the hand of someone that actually reads it,
Yeah.
I feel like if I saw someone gave me this and and obviously for me, I want to show that I'm as serious about this craft as as my creator teams are. Hopefully it'll give people a reason to read it. They're literally getting like a book in their hand. So
you kind of answered my question, because my question wasn't going to be, do you even have kids? Because to be able to afford all those expensive original, if you have kids, it's going to be tough. And it's good that you don't have kids.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I also like this too, like the original art part. As an art collector, I didn't realize, like, really looking at the art, how much details often disappear through the process.
Yeah, right.
So this really showcases Brian's artwork, and
Oh.
story. So it has no text on it as well. So it's really fun addition. But even for our variant tier, if you look at the covers, they were all very intentional to be part of the story as well. Because we have this Mannix cover, which kind of shows the world of Zero Ghost.
Yeah.
And you kind of see all the different characters like falling down, almost like a James Bond movie. And it's really about this like Death Angel. And then we have the protagonist by Joe Benitez.
That's right. I saw that.
Yeah, and then we have the antagonist by Jay Lee. So we kind of covered like, we cover like all the bases, right? And so I think it's important. Yeah, Steve, 1,000 editions is what we want to put out for every Ash Can. So the idea is, we might probably only sell 300 editions on Kickstarter, but we're going to give you 1,000 editions in advance.
Wow.
Wow.
That's very generous, and it shows a commitment to your cause of trying to get your story out there, not just because of the art, right? And I think a lot of people can learn from you, and that it should be more focused or centered on the story, especially now, because I think that's what we need in the industry for it to continue to grow in the right direction that will be feasible and more self-sufficient for the industry. And so, that is cool. Let us go around the room to take another look of the artwork before we go on our last commercial break. Starting with, Mog.
Oh.
Here we go. Steampunk Jinx is coming about, looking pretty sweet. Looking for $100 bid on that to start. If not, you can see this at the cons. And next, Erwin Papa with Wonder Woman has a bid from Ilya at 60.
Love it.
Bodybuilding She-Hulk Wonder Woman. I forget who said that in the comments. Okay, but that has a bid of 60 on there, so we're looking for the next bid of 65 on there. And now, Mr. Fish with Dr. Doom on a sketch cover.
Yep, got Dr. Doom on there, and got inspired. I'm starting to work on a Wonder Woman sketch card. Well, in the time I got
nice.
it.
Okay. I'm bidding on that. What's the bid on that?
And you're going to get all that for 50? Is that it? Okay. So Mr. Fish throwing in a Wonder Woman sketch card in there. Got inspired by Erwin's Wonder Woman. All right, so you want to place a bid on those? Go ahead and put that into the comments. And on that note, we will be right back after this commercial break.
Join the party. Head over to our Linktree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann, and Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Something is speaking to you. Buy more comics. Just at the edge of your perception. Buy more comics. Your senses fill with visions of vortices. 360 comics. Slowly drawing you to one thundering epiphany.
360 comics! 360 comics! 360 comics!
The universe is telling you to shop with 360 Comics. Joe's got amazing stock from high dollar to $5 books from Silver Age to modern, CGC, variant covers, and more. 360 Comics every Wednesday at 9 Eastern, part of The Experience.
Hey, welcome back to SketchUp live with Mog and Mel. Our special guest tonight is Carl Choi. And if you haven't been listening, it has been a very interesting discussion here that we've been having with Carl. You definitely want to check out the book that he's going to be coming out with, or has come out at 247comics.com. Be sure to give that take a peek, a look at that. And yep, we do have a bid on Dr. Doom. Thank you, Stevie B. He's got a $50 bid on that. Thank you very much for that. And you'll be getting that Wonder Woman sketch card as well. And so don't forget, put in #EXP SketchUp. I'm sorry, #EXP 0 Ghost to get you into running for the giveaways that we're going to be doing tonight. And we've got 5 big ones that we're going to be doing very, very, very shortly. Okay, and don't forget to fill out that survey. Hit that follow button. Help us increase our fellowship here. Once we get it up a little bit higher, we'll be probably doing a major giveaway to celebrate for that as well. All right, so let me go to Erwin. Erwin, you guys have what is it, like Ink and Draw?
Yeah, it's a drink and draw event and group called Ink and Drink Long Beach. We do it monthly on Thursday. The next event is September 26th at Supply and Demand from 8 p.m. to 12, 2500 East Anaheim Street. And then we also have a Discord group where I'll send the link later.
Okay.
We also have a Discord group where we have group projects. We've done, how many have we done? I think we did 3 Kickstarter projects, and we're getting ready to do our next one, which is a pinup monster book called Monsters Inc., organized by Sean Lenahan. And we're getting ready to do more projects after that as well.
Okay. Do you collect original artwork?
Me? No. The ones that I do, it's just from friends.
Okay.
Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, I'm the same way too. I want to collect original artwork, but it's out of my budget.
Yeah, I draw comics for a living. I can't afford to go buy an original artwork.
I think the only way we see original art is when we go to the conventions and go to the dealers that have it. We just spend our 15 minutes before we have to get back to the booth.
Studying.
I end up looking at the artists that are around us when we do the cons and stuff. So I'm kind of fortunate and lucky, and so I get to know them as well, and look at their original artwork pages. And there is a lot of good stuff out there. I probably wouldn't even know where to begin on some of it. So, Mr. Fish, are you going to be launching a Kickstarter soon? Do you have another one coming out?
Yes, indeed. My last one, the books go, I stuck them somewhere. The last one just went out. Just sent Alice Lost in Wonderland out to the printers. It should be finished being printed any day now and get shipped out to me. And I just ordered like the acrylic standees for it. And my science fantasy anthology series, Fish Tales, Volume 2, is coming out on Kickstarter on the 23rd. My Patreon backers already got it, of course, because they can subscribe on my Patreon for $10 and get a new book every month. They got it a couple of months ago, but now it's going out wide to Kickstarter. And it's freaking awesome. It has a book in there, a story done in the world of Green Zone that was co-written by me and my son, and he illustrated it, lettered it.
Oh,
He
wow.
was freaking beautiful. One of my buddies, T.S. Luther from Can't Be Killed Comics, he did a story in there for the world of the Mighty Caw. It's showing a little bit more about what that world that he crash landed on was like before he got there. And expands the world and the people and the mythos and everything. It's really awesome. And I illustrated that one and he wrote it for me. It's been really cool to collaborate with people. That's something I was going to say earlier. Like, it's one thing I miss about the school days is being able to collaborate with other artists and bounce ideas off each other. Like, we come up with cooler stuff and we can hang out and play together and shoot ideas off of each other and have the freedom to be stupid for a minute and come up with something weird. You know, you can't do that over an email, you know.
Yeah, it's hard. We've had discussions like that too. You know, we'll meet an artist or a writer, and we're just like talking about something that comes up and hit us. Like, I forget, there was a writer, I forgot his name now, but he was talking to us, and we ended up like talking about cats. So we came up with this character, Infinity Cats. Right, and then he was supposed to like write it, and we were supposed to draw it, but we never got around to like doing it. And even I used to be a dealer at Frankincense, which is a big collectibles show here in LA that runs about 3 times a week now. But I used to be like one of the dealers there in the 90s. And a lot of the image guys would come there, including guys like Joe Benitez, and they would hang. And we would just like talk crap about character stories or stuff that's happening in the studio. And that was like another fun thing that we had going on back then. But just to be able to hash out and brainstorm ideas and stuff. Yeah. And some of that they did use. I just forget like which ones they were. Right? But yeah, it's interesting. For you, Carl, how do you come up with your IPs? Do you do any brainstorming at all with other artists, or is it something that they already have in mind that they're bringing to you?
We asked the artist, the creator team, to bring it to us. Sometimes it's from the writer, sometimes from the artist. So what we like to do is package. So if you're an artist that has a really cool idea that we feel could fit within the kind of our world, we'll make intros to a writer to you and see if you guys can talk shop and work something out. And then it comes back and there's a great pitch or whatnot, and vice versa. If there's a great writer, we'll package an artist. And then what we've done recently too is we've also started bringing on consulting editors to help refine some of these creators and what they're doing. We also have a few artists who aren't, who's been around, but they've never written before. So I feel like a lot of artists should write. I think all artists should write because they are actually the directors. So to me, they're the directors and the cinematographers. And I feel like a lot of times, some of my favorite movies have been when the director also writes. And so I encourage a lot of artists to also write, and we would basically equip them with books to help them do that.
Wow,
that's a
Carl.
very, very interesting point there. Go ahead, Mog.
That's interesting you said that, because I was wondering about that. for about a month for now. As visual artists like us, maybe we should pick up writing and just write down stories. Is that what you mean by writing, or is it just communicating writing? Is that what you
No,
mean?
writing stories. You should write stories.
Yeah.
I think a lot of artists, maybe I mean, obviously, like time is an issue, right? Like you can only draw so many pages, a week, while writers can like pump out scripts, right?
Yeah.
But for example, Sean Chen, he's been in the industry for like 30 plus years. He went away for, maybe almost like five, maybe a decade, and then he came back, and he felt working for the big twos was less meaningful than it was when he was younger. So I said, why don't you just write your own story, dude? And it's actually that one was something we were brainstorming together on, and we were trying to find a writer, but then it turns out like a lot of the story came from him. And then we partnered him up with Daniel Wu, and they were able to actually dig deeper into the characters. And it was a really fun process. It was super non-traditional, but now Sean's writing and drawing at the same time. So he is literally like, doing
Interesting.
it. And it wasn't overnight where like if you were to read issues 1, 2, 3, you could tell like the storytelling got tighter. It got, more expansive. We hired different editors to support Sean through the process. And so he's not doing it alone, sitting in a dark room by himself. We're meeting every week and we're ideating on the story and we're like, collaborating. But at the end of the day, he's the one that's writing it. So he deserves all the credit. So that's kind of how we work. We try to equip everyone with the needs and, really, really make sure we put our best foot forward.
You are definitely going to be a publisher to watch. I'm definitely going to be watching you a whole lot tighter these days to see how you progress, Rigo, and what IPs you bring into the industry. If you haven't yet, #EXP Zero Ghost, because we are about to do the giveaways.
By the way, Carl, I just want to say, I didn't want to interrupt you guys conversing, but your product, the Zero Ghost, is so badass. It is incredible. Just want to say,
yeah.
I
Sounds awesome.
freaking love it. I mean, I wanted to like go wee and like clap and stuff, but I had to be quiet. But man, it is dope. Fantastic work.
Thank you
Fantastic
so much.
job. I just want to. It's from the bottom of my heart. I really mean it because I can see so much effort in it. It's like what you told me, how when you watch films and you can see that people actually had fun in the setup.
Yeah, and then production, like when they're on set, they have fun. You could see it on screen. It's
you can see it on screen. When I see this one, I can actually see it, like the art, especially because I understand the art much better than of course, language. So when I look at it, I can see that this person is flying, like he has wings and he's flying. The artist, he's really just showing all these actions and these really cool choreography and these effects is amazing, by the way. And I could tell that he had a lot of freedom to explore that as well. And that's very rare for me to see. It's like what you said, the big two, it goes from top down. Everything is all like scripted. But with this one, I'm sure it's scripted, but there's also a lot of freedom that this artist is able to fly and explore. And I can see that. And then everyone is pretty much having fun. And for you to be able to give that kind of environment, that's very exceptional, by the way. It's very rare. So
thank you. It makes sense to me. It may not make a lot of sense yet to, I think, the greater industry. But I came from music. I came from, filmmaking. And to me, it makes a lot of sense because I'm not going to, no like Universal executive is going to walk into a studio and say, hey, make songs like this. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think their role at a music label is to promote whatever the creator team brings to the table and curate the best songs for the public. And that's how I see my role as a publisher as well.
Just out of curiosity, what kind of movies do you think that you could see the production team actually had a lot of fun making?
What movies? Big Trouble in Little China. That's a big one.
Oh man,
that was total fun.
Yeah, you're right.
Deadpool 1 for sure. That one was like super fun. Like you could tell, it's very intimate. It's very like close quarters. What's another one? Have you guys seen this horror movie called Barbarian?
Yes, I love that movie.
Right? The energy. They actually went to Bulgaria to shoot
What?
that, and it
Really?
was a very like fabricated set, and you could tell like they just had a lot of fun the way that whole thing was put together. They built the tunnels. So,
Wow, they
what
built
else?
the tunnels for real?
Oh, the first Hangover, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
hilarious. That one was a
You're
blast.
right.
So yeah, those would be some examples.
I think.
All right,
What about the What We Do in the Shadows? The first, the movie.
Have I seen
Have you
that? I
seen
don't
that
know if
one?
I've seen that.
The vampire one?
What we do in the shallow? I don't think I've seen that.
Oh,
I'll watch it. I'll add to my
okay.
list.
All right, let's get to the giveaways tonight. If you haven't yet, # EXP0 Ghost will get you in there. And let's do the first one today. We have the Bravo cards from Louis Bravo. He has 2 nice art pieces here. See his little take on John Wick and Batman there. So those 2, let's go ahead and roll it, JD.
Gonna get it. Who's gonna get it?
JD Art World. Okay.
Congrats.
Don't forget, if you are a winner for either the auctions, giveaways, or whatever it is, make sure you fill out that magic form that JD will be putting up there shortly. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be giving away is a Jacob Sweet sketchbook from this was one that he's had from 2017. The not the Violet sketchbook. Jacob Sweet. Dun dun dun. Should be coming up there shortly. But Jacob is he's an independent artist. Hasn't really done anything in comics yet, but I believe he's thinking of.
I apologize, Mel. Could you describe the picture a little more? Because I'm not sure which one is which.
Okay, it is. I believe in.
Never mind, I got it.
Okay, there you go.
Whoa.
That's from 2016. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of artwork he does. You can see there's some certain influence of artists in there. It is a very, very interesting book, and this happens to be an extra one that we have that I can give away. I think Mog and I both got one each, and we just need one, so I decided to share this. So let's go ahead and roll for that, JD. Stevie B. It's that
Congrats,
up.
Stevie.
Stevie. All right. Now the next one is a print, and I do apologize. I don't know who this is from, but it was. And the funny thing is that I actually purchased this, but I still have several pieces from this artist, and eventually I'll figure it out. Right? But he's kind of like an unknown in our industry. All right, so let's go ahead and roll for that. Let's roll again, JD.
That's us.
Derek.
Yes, Derek.
He's on the board with this one here. All right. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is Erwin Papa's vial. That big, dark black cover there. Okay. So we'll go ahead and roll for that.
Steve,
Steve Vendetta gets that one.
you always have the luck of the devil. Yes.
Steve. All right. Now the next one is we have a green zone set from Mr. Fish.
Yes, we do. We have got this set right here. Oh, you got the picture. Good deal.
There you go. Okay.
Amazing.
So we'll go ahead and roll for that.
Beautiful.
All right.
Woo-hoo! That's Lorena
Ooh.
on that one.
Garfong. Congrats.
Good for you. Okay. And just to let you know, Lorena, that package did come back. But so I'm going to send that back out with the correct address. For some reason, I transposed one of your numbers incorrectly. But I will be mailing that out next week to you. All right. So congratulations to all our winners there. Thanks again for coming to the show. All right. So Carl, what do you? Can you tell us any of your big plans of that you might have coming up in the near future?
Oh yeah, he was going to show a trailer.
In what category?
Weren't you going to drop a trailer or something?
I think we did it earlier.
Yeah.
Do we have
Another
some
one, you
videos?
said.
There's some process videos. Oh, we have a Reddit tomorrow, AMA at 10 a.m. So if you guys are around, we have a Reddit. We're going to do a live stream on Saturday in the last couple hours. So yeah, if you guys are into Zero Ghosts, feel free to check it out. We would appreciate you passing on to a friend as much as you backing it. So feel free to pass the link out. Really appreciate it.
Right. Yeah. So if you can't physically back it, share it, comment, like it. That goes a long way.
Long way.
To get it out there. Yeah. And
even copying, even sharing, just the copy paste link, just clicking on that. You can click that 20 times, and that would be considered almost equivalent to a like. So please.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
More
clicks, the better.
Yeah. Thank you, Lorena. She just placed a comment there that she backed Zero Ghost. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yep. So if you got more of you guys do that would be appreciated.
Oh my God.
Cross that 30K if it hasn't done so yet. But I'm pretty sure it's going to.
Yeah.
Final look at the artwork before we go. We've got a couple minutes left. Mog showing her steampunk Jinx. Looking for a bit of $100 on there.
Or gear. It's kind of fun adding gear. But
so cool.
Mog is hoping it doesn't sell so she can take it to the cops and sell it for more.
That's
I keep telling you guys are the artwork that goes on here for sale is dirt cheap compared to what it should be going for. So,
by the way, did I tell you, Fish? Dr. Doom is my favorite.
Oh man, he is literally who I wanted to be when I grew up. Honestly, he's the reason I'm an artist, because I wanted to build a suit like his. Well, first I wanted to be Data from the Goonies, then I wanted to be Inspector Gadget, then I wanted to be Dr. Doom. And my mom made me design plans before she'd take me to the junkyard to buy stuff to build my inventions. So I had to start drawing plans, and they kept changing. And eventually it was just easier to make a living as an artist than an engineer of super weapons. So I just pivoted.
Dude, I love Dr. Doom so much. I want to make a big ass painting of him, and then dedicate that to my love here, my only love here.
It's actually something that I've requested from her for a while, and that's been on the back burner for years now. So Carl, just to verify, Stephen Nett is asking, Brian Ching is the artist on Zero Ghosts. If so, he's the artist. If so, he's been
Yeah.
a comics pro for a long time. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Steve.
that is
Steve,
correct.
yeah. He's had a run at Top Cow. He's done Witchblade, The Darkness, and he
Yeah.
was at Star Wars for like 10 years. He went to
Yeah.
he did Republic. He did Knights of the Old Republic as a co-creator, and he did like a ton of issues, like 50 issues of that. And we actually have the original art available on this Kickstarter campaign. I know it's very rare because Brian doesn't really sell his art. He keeps most of his art.
Really?
So to get pages is pretty cool. I actually have a gallery room that I put on CAF that has all his kind of previews. So even if you guys aren't, gonna back it, check it out. I'll give you the.
There you
you
go.
guys want to post it? Here's a link. But I put in the private chat, so if you guys want to post it for people to check out the art that's there, man, like his body of work is freaking insane.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right, and I want to thanks again for everyone for coming to our show tonight, especially our special guest Carl Choi. It was very interesting talking to you tonight. Definitely would want you back again next year, and I would definitely will invite you for that. Same with Mr. Fish. Always happy to have you here. You do some incredible fast art there, and Erwin, I know we're going to be seeing more of you as well. Derek writes, Erwin, I love the attitude on those faces. Great expression. Yeah, thank you very much for that. All right, so final bids. We have no bids on Mark. She gets to take that to the con.
Yes, my name is Mark today.
We have the $60 bid for Erwin's Wonder Woman from Ilya, and Mr. Fish has the $50 bid from Stevie B. Make sure you join us next week. We have Michael Olden with us, and he'll be telling us about his latest project. And along with Michael, Jen Leonard will be back. John will also be here. His name is skipping my name. John, image artist. What's his name again?
John Stinsman.
There you go, John Stinsman. Okay, will be here. So don't forget to join us then as well. All right. So I hope everyone has a good night. Thanks again for joining us. Carl, special good night
Thank
to you.
you. Thanks for having me, Mel. Thanks, Mog. Good seeing you.
Thank
Fish.
you.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Great hanging out, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.